everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com back again inside the place. Sorry for being so, forthright in the intro there, but I am very excited because it's my favourite time of the week. Not only has the World Cup started in Russia 2018, I've been waiting 4 years for football to come home, but also it's Wrestlers of the Week, which is, just as exciting, I guess. My heart says the World Cup's more exciting, but I think my head says that Wrestlers of the Week is more consistently exciting on a weekly basis. Obviously, we've had some tremendous shows to talk about. I'm talking, of course, about New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion, but where will the impressive performances rank in Wrestlers of the Week? Also, a pretty good match on NXT to talk about as well, and just some other stuff thrown in, bits and pieces here and there. Let's just see. Let's crack on with, the honourable mentions first of all. Let's do the honourable mentions. So first of all, a big shout out to both Toni Storm and Kagetsu over in Stardom, who had Toni Storm's kind of farewell match because she's going to pastures new. WWE. No, I don't know where she's going. No idea. Maybe she's going back home to Australia / New Zealand, where she's also from somehow. What a confusing woman. Also, a big shout out to Evil and Sonata. They may have lost their tag team titles at Dominion, but they held on to our hearts, which is always important, of course. I'm not sure if they'll care too much about that, but at least Sonata still has this sweet jacket, so that's pretty decent. Also, Braun Strowman won a pretty good kind of ladder-based match on Raw. He was just slamming fools left, right, and centre, and solidifying the fact that he's probably not going to win. Probably not going to win Money in the Bank on Sunday, but maybe he is. I think Ross was going to predict him, but had a last-minute change of heart. Controversial, but let's crack on with number 10 on my Wrestlers of the Week league table this week. Number 10 is just a tough lad from Birmingham. That's right, it's Pete Dunne. What are you going to do about that? That's my West Midlands accent there for all you UK fans out there. Maybe you're from the West Midlands as well. Pete Dunne picks up 1 point on this league table. He is a man who has suffered from a reduced schedule, I think. Basically, Pete Dunne, I thought last year was going to be one of the biggest, best wrestlers of this year, particularly after that NXT TakeOver Chicago match against Tyler Bate when he won the title. He is still yet to drop the title, and he successfully defended it on NXT this week. What's that? This week, y'all, against Kyle O'Reilly. It was a good match. Pete Dunne looked pretty good. It's all, setting up very nicely for that big 6-man tag team match between British Strong Style and the Undisputed Era, which takes place at the Royal Albert Hall in London pretty damn soon. But yeah, Pete Dunne's still staying sharp, looks pretty good, and I just can't wait for his next big marquee match. Hopefully, it won't be too long. I guess it'll be on night 2 of that Royal Albert Hall doubleheader, because he will take on the winner of the UK Championship Tournament. But let's get him back on some takeovers. Let's get him on Raw again. Remember when he was on Raw? Let's do that. Number 2, his opponent, Kyle O'Reilly. I love Kyle O'Reilly. I think he may be my favourite member of the Undisputed Era. It's him or Adam Cole, baby. It's one of the two. But O'Reilly, even though he lost to Pete Dunne, was immense in this match. He sold really well. He made Pete Dunne look like $1 million, and he's really funny. I'm sure a lot of you may have seen that YouTube compilation video of Kyle O'Reilly just goofing around, but in a way that fits the context of pro wrestling. It's not too silly. He's not wrestling blow-up dolls, Coda. He's not wrestling 9-year-old girls, Kenny. He's doing actual stuff. He's like for example, at the match against the Authors of Pain, I think it was a couple of takeovers ago, maybe just the last takeover, where he took a German suplex, rose to his feet all like New Japan style, like no selling it, and then went, no, that did hurt, and just fell through the ropes. I love the way that he moves in the ring. He blends comedy and heelish, funny heelish tactics with serious martial arts ability as well. And he's one of my low-key favourite wrestlers, I think. And I'm sad not to see him on this list more regularly, but hopefully that changes in the second half of 2018. We're halfway through 2018 already. Life just goes by so fast. And if you don't slow down to appreciate the good things, then you might miss them forever. Just think about that, yeah? Have a little think. Number 8, right, here's the first instance of, you may have heard that Lucha Underground is back, everybody, and you know what? My number 8 is Pentagon Dark. Pentagon Dark, because he's known as various things, right? He was known as Pentagon Jr. in Lucha Underground, then he became Pentagon Dark because he turned all evil and stuff and was consumed by the evil within him. But then on the indies he was called Penta or Penta El Zero Miedo, Penta of No Fear, and then now he's back to Pentagon Jr. again in Impact because they've got a partnership now with Lucha Underground. They've got some kind of deal going on. But then in Lucha Underground, he's still Pentagon Dark. I'm just going to add all of his points together. Don't worry, there's not going to be a Pentagon Jr. and a Pentagon Dark on the league table. I'm just going to add these points to Pentagon Jr.'s points. And for anyone, by the way, in Lucha Underground wrestling under a different persona who gets points, I think it's fair to just add it to their original tally. I think that makes sense. Yeah, guys? Yeah? Yeah, guys, yeah. Yeah, it does. It literally does. Now, the entire first episode of Season 4 of Lucha Underground, I'm so happy it's back. I love Lucha Underground. Despite its ups and downs and its recent inconsistency, I really like it, and it's one of my favourite shows. And I think in wrestling, it's not a patch on like Breaking Bad or South Park. It's not one of my favourite shows. It's one of my favourite wrestling shows. Basically, what happened was this whole episode was one match. It was Aztec Warfare, which is kind of their version of the Royal Rumble. There's no over-the-top rope eliminations, but everyone comes in a staggered entry like a Royal Rumble, and then it's pinfall or submission, basically. So there were 20 guys. Pentagon came in at number 6 and retained his Lucha Underground Championship. I'm talking a bit more quietly because Richard Tubman, our editor, is out there and really loves Lucha Underground and doesn't want to see any spoilers. So just keep that on the low, low. Everybody just keep that on the low, low. I've just made up a little song. That's not even a real song. Just don't tell him. It's all okay. Pentagon did loads of stuff in this match. He was brawling with Tommy Dreamer, a surprise entrant in the bleachers. He was breaking Hernandez's arm. Hernandez came back, another surprise entrant. He broke his arm. He also broke the arm of Marty the Moth. Not Session Moth Martina, Marty Martina, the other Moth, the one in Lucha Underground, the creepy guy, the creepy one with all the weird like mannerisms and stuff, and he wears Aztec Pride on his shirt, and he's a bit of a weird guy. Yeah, Pentagon beat him in the final 2, retained his title, and then broke his arm as well. It was brutal, but don't tell Richard, because you get really cross. 3 points, Pentagon, 3 points and 0 Miedo. Good job. Number 7, picking up 4 points. It's Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks. Just Matty Jackson. Often the more comedic of the Young Bucks, but since this whole Bullet Club Civil War has become a thing, they've both become a little bit more serious, actually, and they've both been telling more dramatic stories in the ring than comedic or meta ones. And I really appreciate them for that. I think they're fantastic at it. And I'll tell you a little secret, right? I used to think the Young Bucks were quite overrated, but this year they've really proven to me that I was wrong and that they are phenomenal wrestlers, a phenomenal tag team. Really good, not only at the moves, we all know they can do all the flips and all the moves in the world, but they're really good at the storytelling as well. Now the Bucks took on 2 LIJ members for the heavyweight IWGP Tag Team Championships. They've moved up a weight class, they've been getting all bulked up and stuff, and Matt Jackson took a little bit of a reduced role, which may spoil one of the future entrants on this list, I know, but basically what happened was Nick Jackson's leg was giving out at every opportunity, leaving Matt Jackson alone to basically fend off the 2 members of LIJ on his own. And we'll talk about how that went down in the next person's entry, who you've probably guessed who it is already. But I'm sorry for putting you out the lower out of the 2 Young Bucks, Matt Jackson. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry, Matt Jackson. Oh, I'm for real. Never. I'm so embarrassed. Like, if anyone from my school saw this, they'd just continue to not talk to me. Number 6, don't kill me, it's Will Ospreay. No, you can't have a go at me for giving him more points because he had a wonderful IWGP Junior Heavyweight match with Hiromu Takahashi at Dominion. Now, it wasn't the best performance of Ospreay's this year. I think his match with Skull was better. You could even argue that his tournament match with Flip Gordon was better, and certainly his OTT match in Ireland with Matt Riddle was better. That was a fantastic match, and his other match with Matt Riddle at WrestleMania weekend. So even though this was a really good match, it wasn't one of Ospreay's best of the year, and also he lost the championship. But it was a bit of a different match, and he's certainly deserving of his points this week because it showed off his strength a lot of the time. He had an awesome deadlift superplex at one point on Takahashi, and it looked really good. And I just sort of forget how strong Ospreay is, considering he's known for agility, and flips, and swearing. He called Takahashi the C word. You can't go around calling someone that, William. What if your mother's watching? Number 5, Nick Jackson. I'm sorry, Nick Jackson. Whoa, no, I'm not. No, I'm not, actually. Just cut that off there because I put you higher than your brother Matt. And previously on installments of this list, I've put Matt higher, especially in that Young Bucks versus Golden Lovers match where I thought Matt was the better of the 2. But this match really proved to me that, you know, both brothers are pretty much even and either one can steal the show on his day. Nick certainly stole the show in this match. I thought it was a bit of an underrated tag match, actually. Not a lot of people were talking about it in the aftermath of Dominion. Meltzer gave it 4.5 stars. I think it was maybe pushing 5, 4.75 I think. I know that it's a bit sad to argue about a quarter of a star, but I think it was really just a shade under a 5-star match. I really do think it was excellent, especially because of the work that both Young Bucks put in, and especially because of the work that Nick Jackson put in. He was selling the leg really well. Every double team move they went for, he was selling the leg. He even did a springboard at one point. His leg gave out and he just crumpled to the canvas. Really good stuff. Really consistent selling too. And Then they had to resort to the more bang for your buck, their iconic old finisher, the move, as Don Callis said on commentary, that made them famous, to pick up the win and scoop those glorious tag team titles. It was lovely, it was really good. You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Nick Jackson, 10 times out of 9. Now if I'm lying, fine. The quickest muzzle throw it on my mouth and nod. Number 4, one of the most iconic wrestlers of all time and a man who continually reinvents himself, Christopher Jericho. Jericho finds himself again, despite being old for a wrestler, I guess, finds himself at the forefront of the wrestling landscape, doing things that no one else is doing. And what he did this week was win the IWGP Intercontinental Championship from Tetsuya Naito at Dominion. So no one really expected that, apart from Sam, who predicted it, and I predicted that Naito would win. I looked like a fool I did. This match was clever. It wasn't the best match on the show, and it never was going to be because of some of the other big matchups on the show. So it didn't try to be. Instead, it was a wild, realistic, terrifying brawl. Even before the bell rung, Jericho had jumped Naito and they were brawling around the ringside area. There was a powerbomb on a table that looked nasty. There was various things. There was blood. Naito was bleeding from the eye, I think, and Jericho just looked like an evil, malicious heel all the way through. Despite this, a little part of me thought that Naito would fight back and win, but no, well, he did fight back bravely. But Jericho just picked up the win with a big code breaker, 1, 2, 3, and Jericho, who's still on the WWE roster page as an active member of the roster, is now the second biggest champion in New Japan. And he's got a cruise coming up. And he teased teaming with the Young Bucks at some point. What a man. The rules of wrestling do not apply to this little lad. They don't apply to him though. He can just do what he wants because he's that clever about it, I think. Just that damn good. Number 3, Hiromu Takahashi won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship from Will Ospreay, put in a phenomenal performance. And he's just been on a tear over the past few weeks. I think he may be my wrestler of the month, if that were a thing. Like, it was like back in sort of February, March, when Zack Sabre Jr. was just hitting those big points week after week. That's what Takahashi's been doing the past few weeks, and he's really rocketed up the league table, as we'll see at the end of the video. So, I've not got much more to say. I was surprised to see him win, even though he impressed a lot in the Best of the Super Juniors. I thought they were going to keep the belt on Ospreay for longer, but no. They've just thrown it on Takahashi. That makes it sound careless. They've put it on Takahashi because they know that he can have excellent matches with pretty much any other junior in the division. He wrestles dangerously, or at least gives the illusion of danger. I don't know how dangerous he is to his opponent, but I certainly feel like he's a danger to himself sometimes. His matches have that sort of wild, unhinged quality, but at the same time, that's what we love him for, and also for his charisma. He brings a cat to the ring, toy one, brings a book with little notes about his opponents in it. That's silly. What a silly man. He's really good. If you've never seen him before, don't take my words there as what he does. It's much better than I've made it seem. Number 2, Kazuchika Okada. The reign is over. The best reign, many people will say the best heavyweight championship reign in wrestling history. Kazuchika Okada finally dropped the belt at Dominion to his opponent Kenny Omega, but what a performance it was from the Rainmaker. 2 out of 3 falls, no time limits, and I thought Okada played his role to perfection, essentially, to perfection. He won the first fall with just a roll-up, just a little roll-up. Everyone thought that it was going to be like something massive that would take the first fall, would cause the first fall to happen, but no, it was just a wrestling, like a roll-up essentially, a pinning predicament, like Bret Hart kind of thing. And Okada just looked like a boss. Omega looked furious, and the match continued from there. And as the match drew on, and Okada was getting closer and closer to defeat and desperation, he really showed that as well. He looked absolutely exhausted when this was all said and done. But I don't believe he was. I think he's got incredible conditioning, and he probably wasn't as tired as we think. He was probably pretty tired, but not as tired as he seemed. And I'm delighted to know what's going to happen next. The mystery has really grabbed me, and I can't wait to see what he does in the G1 climax as well. So 9 points to you, Okada. Only 9 points? Who could have possibly come first? You know who came first. Don't play that with me. Don't do that. You know what I'm talking about, guys. You know. And my wrestler of the week, picking up a big 10 points for the 3rd time this year, I believe. Kenny Omega, the new IWGP heavyweight champion, and one half of what Dave Meltzer has called possibly the best wrestling match of all time. I don't know how much I agree with that. I think it's certainly one of the best matches I've ever seen, but I don't know if it's the best. I have to really think about this, to be honest. But it was certainly a fantastic, fantastic matchup. 2 of the best wrestlers in the world putting on one of the best matches we've ever seen over the course of like an hour and sort of 10 minutes or so. which is just no mean feat at all. I can't emphasize enough how brilliant Kenny Omega is. And while I agree that Okada is probably one of the most consistent wrestlers in the world, if not the most consistent, I think on his day, Omega is truly the best wrestler in the world. When he puts on a good match, a good Omega match is better than a good match from, I think, anyone else. He's just that damn good. Also, the big thing I enjoyed about this match was the storyline aspect. I love a story, of course. The culmination of everything, basically. The culmination of his first title shot back at Wrestle Kingdom against Okada, and then, you know, not winning the G1, but drawing with Okada in the second match, finally defeating him in the third one, but the title wasn't on the line, and then finally defeating him after going down one fall from that pinning predicament, coming back and blasting him with the one-winged angel to pick up the climactic victory, and celebrating with his friends, the Young Bucks. Such a feel-good moment, you know? I loved it. From top to bottom, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. An exhausting watch, by the way. If you're going to watch it, prepare thyself. But no, it was just so good. I don't know what else to say. 10 points for Kenny Omega, and richly deserved. Pow, Bullet Club for life. So if we take a look at the official league table, we will see that Kazuchika Okada and Hiromu Takahashi have jumped up to 4th and 5th respectively, knocking poor Johnny Gargano down into 6th. Kenny Omega's right behind them now in 7th, and further down, if we wait a little bit, we'll see Tommaso Ciampa down there in 18th. But I should mention that he and Johnny Gargano have a big chance to score some crucial points at NXT tomorrow night, where they could put on a bona fide Match of the Year candidate. But will it be Match of the Year after what we've seen last Saturday at Dominion? Time, my friends, will tell. Bit dramatic there, time will tell. So that's it for this week on Wrestlers of the Week. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter at JackTheJobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic, and check out our Patreon as well, patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never, ever forget to join us.